Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Welcome again to our SoBigData Digital Coffee. I am Giulio Ferrigno, Senior Assistant Professor of Innovation Management at Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna, and I am very happy to conclude this webinar series with my wonderful colleague, Maria Giulia Garcera. Before we start, let me express my gratitude to SoBigData Research Infrastructure for giving us the possibility to organize this. More importantly, I want to thank you all for attending this event. We and also the other webinar series. We received almost 700 subscriptions to our webinars series. And this is a great achievement because it shows us that so many people are interested into big data. Most of you are European, but a good portion of you come also from United States and also from emerging economies. Moreover, the majority of you are working in companies interested to do research on big data, and while others are also interested to do networks, but also educational purposes. This was possible only because we had involved wonderful speakers in our webinar series. So in this second edition, we focus on different sectors, and we have involved many speakers, three different speakers per each event. So I want to thank Roberto Trasarti, Fabio Liberti, and Matteo Fovilli for being with us for the first event about big data in healthcare. I also want to thank Giovanni Mauro, Daniele Tortora, and Susanna De Luca for being with us for the second event that was about data-driven marketing strategies in tourism. Also, I want to thank Salvatore Citraro, Marco Cerri, and Vlosmek Gogolek for being with us for the third webinar we had about data science in media and entertainment. But before we start, let me remind you the format one more time, the last time. In every webinar, we always try to involve three different speakers who are a representative of companies, or they are academics, data scientists, or even policymakers. And each speaker has 10 minutes to give a presentation. At the end of the three presentations, we will have 15-20 minutes for the Q&A session. Therefore, if you have questions, as usual, please write them in the chat. Don't be shy, because like previous episodes, at the end of the webinar, we will read these questions and these questions will be answered 100% by our speakers. Let me also remind you that this session is also recorded on the YouTube channel of the SoBigData. So if you miss any part of the webinar, please go there and watch the recorded video whenever you like. You will also find all the recorded videos of the SoBigData Research Infrastructure. So if you missed any part of other episodes, you can go there. Okay. Last but not least, let me remind you that at the end of the webinars, this is the last one. So you will receive by tomorrow or the day after tomorrow a digital copy of the SoBigData magazine for free, and also a certificate of participation for those of you who are requested as the certificate of participation when they sign to the form. So, but I'm talking about too much about how we structure the SoBigData webinars. Let's go deeper. So, in the previous episode, we focused on the impact of big data in healthcare, tourism, marketing, and social media. However, we did not cover yet an important topic. What are the implications of big data for business? And to better understand this issue, we have involved Michela Natilli from ISTI CNR and also Gianluca Dettori. founder and president of Primo Capital SGR. So I want to thank both of them for being with us today.
Yes, Giulio, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
We have every time 3 speakers.
Yes. All right, Maria Giulia, you are right. Could you remind me who is gonna be the first speaker of today? Sorry.
Yes, I think it's you.
Me? Really?
Yes. I think you can moderate this webinar because it's the last and you never talk about your own research. So I think maybe other people are interested in know what you are doing in your research. So I think it's your turn.
Okay. But if I'm the speaker, someone probably should introduce me.
I think don't worry, I can introduce to you. I have your bio. I know you very well. So I think we can get started. And so I'm very happy to introduce to you my colleague Giulio Ferrigno, that for today will be our first speaker instead of just the presenter of this webinar. So thank you, Giulio, for change your side today. Giulio is a senior assistant professor at the Institute here of Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna. He has held a visiting position at the University of Cambridge, at Tilburg University, and University of UMIE. His main research themes include, of course, SoBigData, Industry 4.0, Open Innovation, and Alliance. He has published more than 60 works in leading paper-reviewed journals and 3 books on these topics. And also, he's an associate editor of Technology Analysis and Strategic Management and chair of the editorial review board of R&D Management. Of course, he contributes to the SoBigData research infrastructure and coordinates the big data team here in Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna. So, Giulio, thanks for being with us today. Today we are talking about data impact on economics business. So what is your point of view and what is the influence of big data on firm strategies?
Thank Maria Giulia for forcing me to make these presentations today. Here today I want to. So you're right. Basically, we always moderate the sessions, but we never talk about our research. So today I'm very happy since we are looking at the impact of big data on economics, businesses. What is the influence of big data on the let's say the businesses. I want to share with all you a paper we recently published on a very prestigious and international peer-reviewed journals, which is R&D Management. If you are more curious about this, so I have only 10 minutes to present, so I would like to go just on the key important elements that characterize this type of research. So, but if you are more curious, you can go on the website. You can see here in the slide because we made it open access, so you can easily see for free. So, what is the research about? So, the title of the paper I'm gonna talk about you today is the following. So what of the big data influence open innovation, an empirical analysis on Italian SMEs. And I made this paper with other colleagues of my university, and I want to thank all of them for collaborating with me on this project. So Saverio Barabuffi, Enrico Marcazzan, and Professor Andrea Piccaluga. And basically, how we came up with this idea. So we have observed that. So we know that open innovation. So we know that companies, especially SMEs, have difficulties to make new collaborations, to exchange a lot of information with the new partners because they are small, okay? But we also know that open innovation gives the possibility to these companies to overcome many of the challenges they actually face nowadays. It means that the companies nowadays can, let's say, make new collaborations with new partners. And this also is also, let's say, seen categorized by the excellent existent literature of management into open innovation breadth and depth. Open innovation breadth means that companies make new collaborations with the new partners. Open innovation depth means that they frequently have relationships with new partners. However, nowadays, we also know that big data, that companies, let's say, produce so many data. And these data nowadays are not easily, let's say, are not, it's not easy to analyze these data through traditional system, okay? Because they require large capabilities in terms of storage space, also time to be analyzed, okay? However, the existing literature suggests that big data play a role for the performance of the companies. So big data, it has been shown by other scholars, for example, Gazamawi or also Michela, that nowadays that big data affect positively the innovation, but also financial performance of the companies. Okay. And among all the things that we talk about big data, we know that the three most important, let's say, characteristics of this of big data are the three famous V. So big data volume, which refers to the amount of data companies might leverage. Big data variety, which refers to the sources of information. So how heterogeneous, how different are the types of information companies might leverage. And big data velocity, which means that companies, which refer to the speed through which companies can analyze this data. So, having said that, what we came up with this paper was to understand, because it was not, let's say, addressed before, how and where, let's say, big data can affect the open innovation strategies of companies. So, if big data can impact on the performance of the companies, can also are somehow linked to the open innovation strategies of the company. And this intuition actually is not like something that was attractive to us and was like, okay, let's do this research. Actually, this was a research gap we found in existing literature, and in this case, Ellen Henkel with Erich Hesbrook suggested a few years ago that that an interesting issue to understand, to unpack, to unlock is the influence of big data on open innovation. So in this paper, we try to posit and we try to let's say to address the following research questions. What of the three V's we have seen, so big data volume, big data variety, and big data velocity of the big data support SMEs open innovation strategies? So this is the model we have elaborated. So we have made some hypotheses about the impact of big data volume, variety, and velocity on both open innovation breadth and open innovation depth. Of course, someone could question that, for example, there are some other characteristics of big data that might matter. For example, big data value or big data veracity or even big data visualization and so on. But we're focusing on these characteristics of big data only because they are the most let's say popular, the most important according to existing literature. after, let's say, after elaborating this hypothesis, we have tested this hypothesis. But how? By collecting data. What have we done? What have we done? In the winter of 2 years ago, basically, we have developed a questionnaire. Then, a questionnaire, a survey in Italy. And we have mainly targeted SMEs only because for one simple reason. 90%, more than 90% of the Italian, let's say, landscape is, let's say, constituted of, is made of SMEs. Okay, so Italy is a representative country for studying SMEs. We have pre-tested this questionnaire after collecting feedbacks from data scientists, also from open innovation scholars, or even from SMEs founders. We have asked to an independent agency to review these questionnaires. And after doing this, we build our sample. We downloaded all SMEs through the Orbis database, which is a database we have access through the Sant'Anna, through Sant'Anna. And we have involved an external professional firm to do the computer-assisted telephone interview. So we have, so through the a professional firm, we have collected, we have contacted more than 800 of SMEs, and 123 of them completed the interview. Because we were interested only on companies who are let's say, who are engaged in big data. And we wanted to have the, let's say, to talk, to receive the response only from the decision makers of SMEs. Okay, so the founder or even let's say a manager who play a role. We in the company, we have, from a methodological point of view, we have done, of course, a quantitative approach, but a negative binomial regressions, and we have used so we have as an independent variable the BigData, this, and as a dependent variable the open innovation breadth and depth. And of course, we control it for many things, such as SMEs industry, age, size, potential absorptive capacity, and so on. After doing after doing this analysis, we found basically that 3 of the 6 hypotheses we made were confirmed, the others not. So in a nutshell, big data, the 3 V's of the big data affect the SME's open innovation breadth. So big data volume, big data velocity, and big data variety are positively correlated with SME's open innovation breadth. So the amount of data, the variety of the data, and the speed through which these data are analyzed impact, brings companies to form new collaborations with other partners. However, these collaborations are not done, let's say, frequently. So because they are not correlated, the big data, with the open innovation depth. So in a nutshell, and I conclude, this is the last slide of my presentation, in the what we observed in the context of Italian SMEs, big data is not always better data. So big data can contribute to the formation of new collaborations, but not to their strengthening. So in a nutshell, also, our paper suggests that SMEs, CEOs must overcome the well-known not invented here syndrome and dedicate their resources to the relationship with external partners through big data characteristics. Of course, this is only one of the type of research we we do in Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna. We have studied also, for example, the impact of big data on radical and incremental innovation, or the impact of so how big data brings companies to develop new products, or brings companies to patent, and many other things. But given that I had only 10 minutes to present, I just wanted to concentrate my attention on this type of research. Of course, my mail is here. So if you are more curious, if you want to start new collaborations, if you want to start research, if you want to be involved in our activities of the SoBigData research infrastructures, please let's get in touch. And this is my mail. Thanks, Maria Giulia, for work.
Thank you, Giulio, also for having your presentation. So maybe all the people that watching us understood what you are doing in Sant'Anna and in SoBigData research infrastructure. So thank you again. So now let's get another point of view. Let's move to the second speaker of today. Our second speaker is Michela Natilli, and I can say that she really matter within the SoBigData research infrastructure. She's a statistician with a degree in statistics and economics from the University of Siena. And she has also a master in big data analytics and social mining from the University of Pisa. She's a senior researcher at the CNR in the Institute of Information Science and Technology here in Pisa. Michela, with your extensive experience in applied data science, and of course your role as researcher in research infrastructure of big data, you have seen firsthand how companies have leveraged big data to drive innovation. So, in your opinion, where do you see the greatest impact of big data on businesses today? And which industries do you think will see the most transformation in coming years as data analytics that are continuing evolving? So please, Michela, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Maria Giulia. Thank you for the question. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes.
So just quick words about what is SoBigData, because we have named it many times. I won't go really in deep, but I want just to say that we are a research infrastructure, we are multidisciplinary, we are pan-European, and we are distributed. We work mainly on studying society, our complex society, using big data and artificial intelligence. All the things we do are really strongly connected with the actors we work on. We can classify our stakeholders in a certain way in three main categories: researchers, industry, and public bodies. And what we do is related, it is connected on the relation we are with. Today, I will focus with the industry, where our focus is in offering consulting and data analysis services, design tailored training courses, facilitating the creation of new business opportunity, and promoting technological transfer. How we do it? We do it mainly with an initiative that it is named Challenge Us, and it is made to foster this collaboration between the private sector and the research community, the academia, which is not really very easy to do, and it is not very frequent, let me say. Why the Challenge Us? Because we know that every action made by a person, but also by a firm, produce some data. And this data, if it is correctly saved and analyzed, can give many hints to the management of a company or to design new services for society. And starting from this idea, we designed this program, which is, as I said, named Challenge Us, that is a way of creating a bridge between the industry and the academia. And we want to show companies, and we want to work together with companies in designing some solution or proof of concepts to problems, real problems that the companies may have. The format is quite easy in the sense that there is a call. We receive some proposal. Our researcher evaluate them and look at the feasibility of those proposals. There are some winners. There is a project execution, and we have generally a final event to demonstrate the results that we achieved. Just a few numbers. We had 3 editions. We worked on 23 different projects. I can say that many of these companies can be classified as small or medium enterprises, and they come from really different sectors. I mean, we go from food delivery to publisher, photovoltaic, geophysical and geotechnical companies. So we face numerous and different kind of challenges in a way, together with the company people. So just to give you an idea on what we do, I will show you a couple of examples of 2 works that our researchers have carried out in the last edition. So those are the newest one. The first company I'm going to introduce, it is a company that works in retail for fashion, design, and luxury. So it is a company that sells products, and for this reason has developed an internal data customer platform, and they want to gain information and knowledge from this data they collected. So which is in a certain way the business question. The question is that they have a lot of data in this cloud platform support that can help in profiling the customers, in looking at the selling and buying, see trends and many things. But right now, till our collaboration, they were not able to have hints from this data. So what they wanted to do was to compare, for instance, the sales between physical store and online shop, identify trends across time, different kind of customers, classify their customers, and of course analyze profits and spending patterns. So from their business need, our researchers, tried to translate those needs in some research questions. So how can we, researchers, try to help and to work together with company to find solution to these problems? So the idea was to using data mining to create an interactive dashboard for exploring and comparing the selling trends and customer behaviors between physical and online stores. As you can see in here, there are some steps that our researcher took, and those steps are quite common also in other projects that we carried out. The first thing is related to a preliminary data analysis, cleaning, and standardization. This is crucial because from one side, we have to see which kind of data we have. Giulio just said more doesn't mean better. More is more, but we have to look at the quality of the data we are working on. And on the other side, this descriptive analysis, that we call it, helps also researchers to understand which kind of data they are working with, because they were not expert in the sector. Then the second step was in mapping the market questions the company had to some data mining goals. Then extracting key variable of interest, and then eventually at the end, the creation of this interactive dashboard. So the result was a modular dashboard, which is really easy to update it, that the company already integrate the dashboard in its systems. So it is dynamic. There are many thematic pages, and really can help the company management to understand their business, to look at their business, and to design a future strategy based on the data they have already collected. Then I will go to the second example. I will be fast because I'm already 8 minutes in my presentation. This company, it is a leading company in the construction and monitoring of a large photovoltaic plants with a lot of experience. They manage a large quantity of solar power, and they are a fast-growing business. Which was their problem? Their problem was related to the use of power inverters, which are a fundamental part of a photovoltaic plant. They had a lot of data, power, tension, temperature, and so on and so forth, but they face, not often, but they occasionally face that some of those inverters break down for different reasons. Broken inverters cause loss of efficiency and, of course, financial penalties. Their business question was, can we prevent these failures using the data we already have? Translating in a research question, the idea was, can we use data mining and artificial intelligence to forecast, to predict the failure in this inverter with a good confidence? So again, also in this case, data exploration, quality control, distribution, and then two models to test if it was possible to predict this failure in the inverters. Data exploration, we see distribution of all the variables, we see trends over time, and we see a correlation between the main variables used for predicting the model. Looking at this data, the researcher, together with the company personnel, developed these two models, the linear regression and the neural network I was saying, using as input variables the two most important given the descriptive analysis, and they tested the models on three different kinds of data. The first one, real data, pure. The second one, interpolated data, because they discovered with the descriptive analysis that there were many missing values. So they used techniques to impute missing values, and then they also used a synthetic data set to test the differences of performances of the models. Now, the results are not really so important in here. It is the idea of applying those techniques to this data. But if we look at the two models, neural network and regression, sorry, the slides is not really well done. We see that with the neural network, we can see a peak in the distribution of the residual, which can be an alert for the failure of a certain inverter. So just to say, now they have a tool. It is not a commercial tool already, but it is a very good first step toward that activity. Provides benchmark for expected efficiency of the inverters, and the collaboration was something that boosts the quest for proper data collection. On the other side, there is impact also on the clients because there is, for instance, higher energy production, and also on the territory because there is less electronic waste if we are able to prevent those kind of failure. I just conclude here saying just two things. The first one is that the companies we collaborated with have seen these opportunities, these challenges as opportunity in a very positive way. But I must say, and I must add, that this initiative is beneficial also for our research infrastructure, because gave us the opportunity to work on data of different kind and on real problems that companies face every day in doing their job. So this initiative for us is really important and we really like it. And I hope that I was able to give a short presentation of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michela. Do you hear me twice?
Yeah, sure.
Let me see. What's the problem? Now?
Yes.
Now just one. Okay, just one me. Okay, so thank you very much, Michela. I would have said, like, if someone has some question, please write in the chat, but there are already some questions for you. So maybe after you can answer. But thank you for your presentation. So now let's see our last speaker's point of view. We can say that we are very happy to conclude this webinar and this webinar series with the cherry on the cake. So we are very happy to introduce to you Gianluca Dettori. Gianluca Dettori is the founder and president of Primo Capital SGR, that is an independent asset management company and one of Italy's leading players in a high potential technology investment. Just to give you some numbers, the company now has over than 500 million euros committed over multiple funds specialized in digital, climate, healthcare, and space economy sector. He also writes about technology, intern and venture capital for Wired, Nova, Il Sole 24 Ore, and Startup Italia. He is also a fellow of Kaufman Society and of the BMW Foundation. He founded and he is currently councilman of the Italian Tech Alliance. So, Gianluca, thank you a lot for being with us today. I have some question for you, but you can answer and you can talk about whatever you like. So, given you deep involvement in sectors like digital, healthcare, and climate economy, how do you see big data influencing the decision-making process for venture capitalists? And also, do you believe that data analytics will increasingly shape how funds are allocated in venture capital? And how do you anticipate this challenge that the competitive landscape for both investor and startup? Please, if you can give us your point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Hello, everybody. So I'm not a professor, so I'm not going to be able to have a structured, let's say, discussion about the topic. Some general consideration. First of all, when I think big data these days, I really think big data. I mean, the huge data. And then, of course, I can imagine, SMEs can use data and, small data with ordinary tools. You can have corporates, more structured corporates use data with more sophisticated tools. But now we have a new game level playing field in data, which is huge data, often, unstructured, that can be used with techniques that simply did not exist a few years ago. And specifically, well, if you think about the advancement that we've seen in deep learning technologies, in convolutional networks, in recurrent neural networks, transformer technologies, the LLMs, and all of this new wave of technology, and which is now labeled under the new sort of AI label. Sometimes people refer to Gen AI. I think we are entering into a new era, what looking at data means, and how you can use data to do things and to do stuff. Now, of course, this potentially has no limits in terms of what potentially people could do and companies could do. Although there are some limits, which are how far is this ethical? How far can we bring this data analysis, data connection, and what is fair? Think about data privacy, data security. We were discussing with a friend of mine, actually a colleague, that is managing our healthcare fund. And if you could potentially have all the data of all the people in the planet, all the sanitary data, all the health data of everybody, probably in a second, we could resolve every health issue. We could find every cure for every disease. Or at least we could make a very, very, very significant advancement in this area. I mean, if you think about COVID was fundamentally, my understanding about how COVID vaccine was found, it was actually 15 minutes analysis of that RNA data sets, and to identify the correct answer to the problem. Now, okay, of course, all of this data is very private and is very touchy. So how far how far can we go with this data, analysis? Because we could, just by connecting data, we could find information about all of you here that maybe you don't want others to know, or they might be harmful to you, or they can be used for somebody to exploit you. And so now there is kind of like we're facing a dilemma between, there is so much we can do with big data and all the data analysis technologies that we can use, and think about generative AI, how we can generate new stuff out of data and invent, think about hallucinations. There is a bunch of topics that I think are interesting. Now, coming back to your question, so this is a general thought. Now, coming back to what we do, well, first of all, in the big world of finance, we are the small guys. We do venture capital. We invest in innovative startups. So if the question is, okay, how do we use as venture capitalists data and big data for our work? This is still much of a people business, what we do. So every venture capital operator is starting to use data to, how can I say, support decision-making, identify signals that might be relevant for our day-by-day activity, for operations. Actually, I have to confess, I use ChatGPT very, very often during startup calls to quickly come up with relevant information that I need in the discussion, in the analysis of a certain strategy or a business plan. And it's incredibly powerful in having a very fruitful interaction, in a short amount of time. And, I am not an expert of everything. I know a little bit of many things, but, if we often talk to startups, they're really deep into certain technologies or sectors. And suddenly I have access to information that is quite well structured to have a fruitful interaction. So I think that even, of course, finance on a broader sense is deeply influenced by big data and big data analysis. Think about high frequency trading, all the signals that you can identify, combining different kind of information to build automatic strategies. All the fraud detection stuff that happens, to identify potentially frauds during, financial operations. You can optimize those. I mean, there is huge amount of, applications that are currently used in the financial world. But for what it regards the venture capital, I think we are really at the beginning, and it's very unlikely that in very short term, our business will be a quantitative business, but everybody, even us that are a small firm out of Italy, but all the firms that I know, are starting to invest heavily in data and in data analysis, and starting to have those information and tools for different purposes. And I think everybody of us have different ideas of how venture capital works. And so we tend to use, to build the tools or use the information that we think are relevant, So, for example, I've been working with a university researcher that is specializing in, data for venture capital, and especially, so there is a lot of very, very interesting information you can scrape out of LinkedIn. And this is, of course, very, very important for us. I mean, finding out that a certain amount of, certain founders have left their companies and they are doing a new thing can be a very interesting signal for us to track relevant potential founders that we might want to invest. So I think it's going to have a big, much, a bigger growing impact even for venture capital. I mean, I think every human activity is going to be deeply transformed by, not really by data, but by the way we can use the data today with this technology. I mean, we will be talking to data. You know, we won't need databases so much as we have today. We will be able to talk to data sets, and data sets will be able to respond and talk to us in natural language. You know, and that, for example, that would be a very interesting, very disruptive innovation. You know, all this data is there, but how can I really use it? You know, I don't want to have a programmer, a software, somebody that has to build some software for me to build a dashboard like the one we see, you know, right now. This is what we can do today. But I would like to simply speak to the database and ask me, you know, who was the best-selling product last month in my e-commerce out of France? And how can we compare this to last year? And can you make a prediction to increase my sale by 10%? And, you know, as this technology will evolve, and it's evolving really, really fast, this will be possible and actually accessible just to everybody. And I think that's going to be quite transformational. Yeah, that's it. I think that we have 10 minutes. Maybe we wanted to leave some time for a couple of questions and answers. So I think that's it for me.
Thanks, Gianluca, for your amazing presentation. Thanks a lot. Now, let's use this time to read the questions we have in the chat. So, a question to me. How SMEs could implement big data analytics to foster innovation? Which skill should they leverage? Do they need to use internal or external resources? Well, this is a very interesting question. What we have done here in this paper basically was to look at the big data as, let's say, internal resources. So in this case, we have used, so we studied how the characteristics of the big data can be useful to, let's say, foster the open innovation strategies. But other perspectives can be actually used to analyze big data. For example, think about the dynamic capabilities. So sometimes big data can be also can be also categorized as capabilities that enable companies to face with, let's say, to deal with environmental challenges or with turbulent markets and so on. So I think that there is no time to discuss in depth all of this, but yes, big data can be used to foster innovation, and it depends on the perspective you use. They can be used to as internal or also external resources. Now we go to Michela. Michela, 2 questions for you, Michela. So, Michela, thanks for your talk. So, what is Challenge Us? Can we participate? And also, there is another question relating to the challenges. So, if firms can collaborate with the SoBigData without participating to the Challenge Us. I can actually answer to these questions, but I leave you the floor to better answer them. So, what does it mean? Challenge us.
Challenge us is quite clear. I mean, try to see if we are able to answer to some of your questions. But joking apart, the Challenge Us is this initiative. It is an open call that we have generally 1 time per year. So the 2024 just finished at the end of November, and we are actually working on organizing the new call. So check our website probably around April. I'm not sure yet, but there will be the new call. So for sure you can participate to it. And related to the second question, to the second curiosity, yes, we can collaborate. Send us an email. You saw my email address, but there is also the general one, which is info@sobigdata.eu, and we can talk and see if we can work together on something, participate into a project together. So feel free to contact us, and we will answer immediately.
Thanks, Michela. Let's go to other questions to the third speaker of today. So, Gianluca, how important is human capital in the era of generative AI? What are the main challenges in using data for venture capital decisions? Ethics side might maybe, as you said before, and Gianluca, somehow you inspire you to check again my research potential for commercialization.
Yeah. All right. About human capital and how important is the era of Gen AI. That's a really hard question, and I think I don't have the crystal ball for this. I would say that it really depends how you see the future. You can see the half full glass or the half empty. So one option is there will be no need for humans in the future. So maybe we will have to figure out something to do during the day. Robots will be taking care of all the hard stuff, and AI will do all the rest. So we won't need any professor. We don't need any venture capitalists. We don't need nobody. So we probably have to figure out a way to spend our days. Maybe art, philosophy, these kind of things will be relevant for us. And the other way to go is that we will still be able to drive the technology. The technology will not eat us out. And somehow we will be able to manage the technology. And yeah, so it really depends on if you are an optimistic kind of person or a pessimistic kind of person. And probably the answer is going to be a little bit in the middle. I mean, we're going to be facing huge challenges, big troubles, but also great opportunities. And the main challenges for using data in venture capital decision, that's a good question. I think that, at least for the early stage business that we do, so we invest really early. Sometimes they're just more than a PowerPoint. Well, it's a people business at the end of the day. My business is a people business. It's about the entrepreneurs. It's about the founders, about what they want to build. It's about digging into their mind, how they envision the future. And of course, yes, we do a due diligence. Yes, we look at the product. Yes, we look at the market. We look at a bunch of things. But at the end of the day, the investment decisions that we make are based on believing that a certain couple of people or a team is really has got the right attitude and ideas to build something really big that can change our life. So I think there'll still be some time for me to have a job. But I'm not so sure, to be very honest. There might be one point that I'll be fundamentally replaced by a computer. So yeah, and regarding the inspiration, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I hope it can be an helpful inspiration for research. Yes. Regarding ethics, I mean, that's across the board. I mean, about ethics in this sector. I mean, this is, and we have already seen many examples. I mean, there's been a US startup recently that fundamentally was doing sort of a psychological support through chatbot. And the chatbot was fundamentally a computer, and one boy committed suicide. And when they went to look at the chat that he was having in the computer, somehow the computer suggested to the boy to suicide. Kind of like challenging him that you're not going to do it, so why don't go ahead, jump off the window. And actually the boy did it. And yeah, I mean, of course there's been a lawsuit and the company's been almost shut down. But okay, that's just an example, right? An extreme example of how, yes, computers are computers, we are humans, and we should always remember that whenever we touch technology.
Thanks, Gianluca. Thanks for these deep answers to each of the questions made by our audience. So I want to thank you and also Michela for being with us today. I think we learned a lot about the impact of big data on companies, right? So because we have seen the impact of data on open innovation strategies, the challenges initiatives, that also how big data can be seen in the venture capitalism reality. So I want to thank Michela and Gianluca for being with me today, and also that SoBigData Research Infrastructure for letting me organize this webinar series. So I want to thank particularly to Michela, also Valerio Grossi, and Roberto Trasatti for giving us the possibility to organize this. It was, I think it was a nice experience to touch with our hands how many people were interested in the good things that the SoBigData Research Infrastructure does. So I want to thank also the other speakers who intervened in the previous episodes of our SoBigData Digital Coffee. And the big thank goes to the Maria Giulia. Goes to Maria Giulia because Maria Giulia Garcea has devoted a lot of time, efforts, and devotion to and to help me to organize all these webinar series. So without her, that was not possible. So I want to thank Maria Giulia for welcoming this challenge, this adventure with me, and conducting with the great enthusiasm, devotion, and professionalism this initiative. Unfortunately, we have to close the session right now, but let me remind you that first, a recorded video, a recorded version of this webinar will be soon available at the SoBigData YouTube channel. Second, as promised, the digital copy of the SoBigData magazine will be finally shared with all of you by mail. So will be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And last but not least, we might organize new activities for SoBigData Research Infrastructure. So please, let's be in touch. You know what are our mails. You know what is the mail, the general mail of the SoBigData Research Infrastructure. We are always looking for collaborations with the companies, with other data scientists, with the academics, with policymakers, with everyone, because we want to make progress, share, develop new knowledge all together. So that's all for now. So long life to big data, long life to AI, long life to a better world together. So I want to wish you all a lovely rest of the day.